Hello, my name is Marie-André Lamontagne, and I am the programming director of the Blue Metropolis International Literary Festival in Montreal. The 25th edition of the festival will take place from April 25 to April 28 in 2024. And during that time, we will have the honor and the great pleasure to welcome at the festival the British writers Robert Macfarlane. Robert Macfarlane, good morning or good evening for you.
Good evening. Yes, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. What a pleasure to, because I know you know some French, so that's fine. What a pleasure to meet you. You are known for your books on landscapes and nature and people also. For instance, I would give just a few titles: Mountains of the Mind, Landmarks, On the Land, a deep time journey that I have here, just to name a few. Your books call for erudition and attention to language and style. They convey a strong sense of narrative. They show nature and human beings in all their variety and richness. Blue Metropolis Festival awards you the Planet Literature Prize. You won several prizes and awards in the past years. What does this prize mean
Oh,
to
well,
you?
well, thank you, Marie-André, and first of all, and then thank you to the festival as well. I'm really, really excited to come back to a city that I've met once, and I look forward to making the longer acquaintance of. The prize means a great deal to me for two reasons. One is because it is international. It's an international recognition, and the sense that my work is reaching readers in French, in Canada, in English, indeed in now around 30 languages. That feels very exciting to me. So to be recognized from the other side of the Atlantic is important to me. The second reason is that it's for a body of work, and I my first book was published 21 years ago, and it feels significant to me that now nine, soon to be 10, and indeed 11 books on, that body of work is reaching recognition. And I guess the third thing is it speaks of the planet, the planet literature, and that this question of how we live on into the future on this earth is at the center of all our minds and at the center of my writing.
Yeah, of your writing. When you visit or explore a site or a place, what are you looking for? I mean, as a nature writer, but maybe also personally.
Yeah, I always pick up the phrase nature writer. It's a funny one. I always say I am a nature writer if nature includes nuclear weapons,
Mm.
methane,
Yeah,
wars,
yeah.
as well as rivers and eagles. But we are contained within and part of nature. So I've always been fascinated by, I guess, people and their relation to place. So how we think with landscapes, how our memories are shaped by the landscapes that we inhabit and that we remember, and then profoundly how story and writing and literature and culture reshapes those relations, those imaginative relations in turn, which of course manifest politically. When I visit, when I travel, I first of all I'm always looking for somebody who knows that place profoundly. We could call that person a guide, but I think I'm always drawn to obsessives, people who have been under the skin and the surface of a place for a long time. And then I like to travel with them and listen. I love
Because
listening.
you're looking for a sense of belonging.
Not always, because our
Yeah.
relations with landscape are not always good ones. But mostly I'm drawn to people who belong in some way, who can read. We could say landscapes are legible, they are polyvocal, they speak with many voices. I am always only one pair of eyes, only one set of ears. So the more I can listen and also see through other eyes, then I become fascinated. And not only human eyes, our landscapes are made of many citizens, we could say, and not all of them are human.
Yeah. I was wondering, is there anything, anywhere on the planet that has not been visited or touched by human beings?
No. I mean, we dive to the depths of the Marianas Trench and we find spam
Ah,
tins We go to the vanishing pack ice of the North Pole, and we find forever chemicals trapped in the livers of polar bears where they've accumulated. Bill McKibben wrote a book called The End of Nature in 1989, which was also the first year that the climate change alarm was really sounded, and that and I don't think we have that ending is still happening, as it were. But we must stay with the trouble, to use Donna Haraway's phrase. There is no dreaming our way out of this romantically. We must stay with the trouble and do the best we can.
Well, when was it the last time an unspoiled place was discovered on the planet?
I mean, I've
19th
always,
century? 19th
yeah,
century? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if undiscovered means the first humans ever to reach it, I would say late 19th, early 20th century. Of course, there is a long Western tradition of
Yeah.
claiming
Yeah.
discovery
Yeah.
where there has been indigenous presence for a very long time. But I would say Antarctica in the Golden Age. Yeah.
Okay. What difference do you see between the explorers of the 19th century, for instance, and those of today? Because there are still explorers today.
I mean, places are profoundly deep, but they do not need to. They are always making themselves new because the texture of life upon them is always shifting, always changing. So I do not have any fetish for discovery. I suppose I did as a young man. I was a climber, I was a mountaineer, I still am a mountaineer. But nowadays, I like to go to the mountains as if they were friends rather than as if they were enemies.
Yeah, yeah. We often hear, and you mentioned that landscape is changing. Of course, it's a fact as a result of human presence. But is it as it always has, or is it being totally destroyed at the moment?
Well, the pace of change is rapid. Underland, the last big book I wrote,
Yeah.
was concerned with what has come to be called the Anthropocene,
Mm,
the epoch of humans. In fact, Marie-André, you and I are speaking the day after the Geological Council decided not to adopt the notion of the geological epoch of the Anthropocene. But nevertheless, here we are leaving long-term signatures in the future strata of the Earth. And Underland was about all of the things that rise to the surface under the intense pressure of our present. So that might be anthrax released by decaying
mm,
reindeer corpses where the permafrost has melted in Siberia, or the bodies of climbers who died in the Alps in the 19th century suddenly revealed again as the glaciers retreat. So these are signs that the planet is wrong.
is suffering. What is happening to landscape? Is it also happening to languages and to words?
Well, we live in an age of language death, by which I mean actual languages. There's a wonderful line by Wade Davis, the writer, Canadian writer, I believe. In fact, he says, every language is an old growth forest of the mind. And we see languages dying out, final speakers disappearing. So we are with each of those goes an entire way of seeing and way of knowing. And we need new language as well. We not only need to keep the languages that we have in their glorious biodiversity, we could say, but we also need to find new ways of describing what is happening around us and what we are doing to the planet, a kind of Anthropocene dictionary, we might say.
Yeah. And what about words? In 2017, you published The Lost Words, a spell book.
Yes.
Why are certain words disappearing? They
Yeah, so
disappear. Yeah.
this was a big deal in the
Yeah.
Anglosphere. The Oxford Junior Dictionary published a new edition. This is the one that is used very widely in our schools here, and out of it fell words for nature. So adder, bluebell, conker, willow, wren, kingfisher, otter. And these were thought to be no longer relevant to a modern childhood. And in came tech words. So broadband,
Yeah.
chat room, MP3 player, who remembers them? And this, it's not that tech and nature must be opposed, but rather that there was just a decaying of a basic literacy of the natural world, the living world, the common everyday species with which we do still share our lives and our landscape. So Jackie Morris, this wonderful artist, and I made a huge book, this book, in fact, so big it nearly obliterates me, for children. And we tried to find ways of conjuring these very basic names for common species back.
Yeah, but why? You will read maybe some excerpt of that book because it's
Yeah.
fascinating. But I'm wondering, I know that the room is limited in a dictionary, but why was this, why these words and not other words, or
Yes.
lazy, was it for laziness, stupidity, or for what reason?
No, no, I don't think it was laziness or stupidity. You're absolutely right. There is a limit in this dictionary because it's a junior dictionary. It's not a complete
Ah,
dictionary. So there were about 2,000 words, and so they had to make hard decisions. So this is a dictionary used by sort of 6 to 8 year olds, let's say. And the way they make those decisions is they do frequency analysis of a big
ah,
corpus of texts that children come into contact with. And out of those millions of words, they then run usage frequencies. And what they
yeah.
discovered is that the words for everyday nature are not being used. So it's not the dictionary's fault. It is a wider cultural symptom of a separation.
Yeah, but one can say it's a cercle vicieux, like we say in French,
Yep.
because words are not used as often. They don't, they are not in the dictionary. So that's vicious, no?
Exactement. So we wish to break the vicious circle by, and we have, much to our surprise, we succeeded. This huge book we wrote became first a massive bestseller in the UK, with many communities crowdfunding in order to place a copy in every school. So now there's a copy in every school in Scotland, every school in Wales, and around 2/3 of schools in England, all raised by grassroots campaigns. It's been published in Canada, North America, and then in many languages. So perhaps a story of an unexpected story to us of what literature and art can still do is break the vicious circle.
Yeah, and I want to mention that at Blue Metropolis, there is in your program there will be a special event on that book specifically. So will you read us an excerpt just to,
Yeah,
and in French and English
yeah,
also? Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to, and I can't wait for that event. That I love working with young people and families, so I'm really looking forward to that. So this is a poem about the wren, a little poem about a little bird. The wren in French is roitelet, roitelet. So I'll read it in English first, and then in French, and you'll be able to hear that the language is trying to mimic the bird. This is what the bird looks like, if that
Hmm.
helps.
I
In
see.
Jackie's beautiful art. So wren. When wren whirs from stone to furze, the world around her slows. For wren is quick, so quick she blurs the air through which she flows. Yes, rapid wren is needle, rapid wren is pin, and wren's song is sharp song, briar song, thorn song, and wren's flight is dart flight, flick flight, light flight. Yes. Each wren etches, stitches, switches, glitches. Yes. Now you think you see wren. Now you know you don't. And I'll give it a go in French. There's a wonderful French edition from Les Arènes called Les Mots Perdus, and it has a gilded cover, like much of the art. So, yeah, forgive my French accent. I will do my best. Roitelet. Roitelet, quand tu frambis pour te défouler, le monde autour de toi ralentit. Tu es si rapide. Oui, si rapide, tu bruis l'air que tu traverses. Incisif comme une aiguille, aussi vif qu'une épingle, tu chantes aigu. Oui, un chant de bruyère et d'épines. Et ton vol est fléchette, pichonnette, oui, un vol en éclat. Les roitelets sont ainsi autant de gravures crayonnées, d'esquisses en pointillés. Et oui, tu pensais avoir déjà vu un roitelet? Tu sais que non, désormais.
Hey, oh, that's good. Très bien, très bien. That's we can we can hear the rhythm of the in English and in French also in the translation. Yeah,
Yeah, I would just like to.
allitération with the sh and things like that. It's music, huh? It's
Oh,
me.
I'm happy. It wonderfully translated by naming my translator by Semorina Cruz. So grateful to my translators.
Okay, so bravo to the translator. One last question. Reading your books, one can feel a sense of wonder and even of sometimes sacred awe. Are you pessimistic about the future?
Uh, yes, but I also feel that despair is a luxury. I feel this very strongly because I feel that every struggle to to make a better world matters. I feel that to be able to surrender, to give in, to say
Mm.
there is no hope is a position of privilege. And I have worked alongside activists in southern India who are working in, for example, in very, very challenging conditions, very dangerous conditions. That I've worked alongside activists in Ecuador, where violence is commonplace for water defenders and land defenders. And so I see these people and I think they're not giving up, and therefore none of us must. We must fight for every fraction of every degree, every possible betterment for the world.
Robert McFarlane, many thanks. So, mettons-nous à l'ouvrage, hein? Travaillons, travaillons. We'll see you in Montreal at the Blue Metropolis Festival.
I look forward to it very much. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.